How was your birthday?
What birthday?
The birthday you had on Monday.
Oh, that birthday. That was fine.
You honestly confused about your own damn birthday?
It's been a while.
What are you talking about? It was 2 days ago.
Been a couple of days.
In that span of time, you forgot your own birthday and what you did?
No, I didn't forget my birthday. I just figured we'd moved on. You know, maybe
you really don't.
Maybe there was another birthday.
Is Jesse's birthday in between that time of then and now?
No, as a matter of fact, that's March 18th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
By all means, Mr. Mystery. What is the birthday you're alluding to then?
It's just been a couple of days. I didn't know we'd be still talking about it. That's all.
Why are you being all weird about this? It's secretive. I just asked you about your birthday. God damn it.
It was fine.
Okay. Jesus Christ. It's like pulling teeth asking about your goddamn birthday.
So I'm not big on talking about the birthday. Like,
because you hate getting older.
I guess, but it was on a Monday, so you can't really expect too much. And I almost made it through work, the entire work week or the work day, with no one even knowing it was for my birthday. Like, with no one knowing.
And was that a point of pride for you, or you were like, oh, no one recognized me today?
It was kind of a point of pride, because then you gotta, how old are you? And, what are you doing? And I'm turning 32 and I'm going to dinner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those conversations, and no one from work really knows that I'm like that. So I've actually managed to sneak out the last 2 birthdays without anyone knowing it was my birthday at KCBS. But this time I had the newer employee who's been there for a while. His name's Dennis. He said, "Happy birthday, Steven." And every time I leave, no one ever turns around and says goodbye, save for a couple of people. Most people are really entrenched in their work, which is totally fine with me. But as soon as Dennis said happy birthday, everyone turned around. "Happy birthday, Steven. Why did you say it was your birthday?" Because I don't want to.
I mean, that is no offense to that person that asked that question, but that is a dumb thing to say. I'm sorry. But whenever someone says, how come you didn't say it was your birthday? Who's going to be that selfish and arrogant? Yeah. Some people.
Yeah, there can be some out there, but I'm never going to be the one who's like, "Hey, it's my birthday. Let's celebrate me today." At the end of the day, it's just a birthday, And Otis here is saying some people celebrate birthdays for a whole month. That I can't stand, because it's in the name. It's a day.
Yes.
Birthday. So you celebrate this one day, then you move on. Went to a very nice meal, right? Very nice meal called Slater Provisions in San Francisco. Pretty fancy.
Okay.
I first saw it on Fuck That's Delicious with Action Bronson, and then it was all over YouTube. I think it's been open for a decade now. The chefs won the James Beard Award. I think they have a couple of restaurants in San Francisco.
What's the James Beard Award?
It's like the Oscars for restaurants.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the Emmys for a restaurant. And these people are really good at what they do. And it was different, man. They it's not the traditional, go and have them take your drink order, come back. Okay, you want appetizers? Okay, what do you want? Still need a little more time on the main course? Okay, I'll come back. And going through that whole rigmarole. This time they have a set menu, and you can order off that traditional menu if you want. They have a few items on there, but mostly what they do is they walk around with trays of what's special and in season for them. And they just walk around with trays, and they have different prices on the trays. And they basically tell you what it is on that tray. And then you could pick it or just pass and tell them to keep moving based on whatever. And it can get pretty pricey if you don't pay attention. So you got to pay attention to how much you're getting. But yep.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you had a nice, tasty birthday. And yeah, I'm with you. I don't like people making a big to-do about my birthday either. I think at this point in your life, when people ask you, what are you doing for your birthday? You could say, Steven, I'm married, so I'm not doing anything. I'm going out to dinner, and that's it. And not feel any shame about it.
I know. I do feel shame though whenever I talk about my birthday plans because I never really do anything anyway.
I know, like this year, I hung out with you guys. We went day drinking in Oakland. And I was like, that's all I need. I'm good with
Yeah.
that. Some people are like, that's all you did, and I'm like, yeah, that's all I need to do.
Yeah.
Like I remember a couple years ago, you and I were hanging out in Oakland doing the same thing, and then we met up with Whitley Sandretto, who works over at 95.7 The Game, and she wanted to go to a club in Oakland, and then you and I were like, we entertained it for a while. Then I was like, wait a minute, it's my birthday, and then like we're waiting in line. And there's a cover for the bar at Hello Stranger, basically a club in Oakland, and then I looked at you and I was like, do you want to go in? And you were like, not really. I'm doing this because of your birthday, and I'm like, I don't want to go in either. So we got to the front of the line, and then it's like, all right, guys, pay the $20. I'm like, I'm out. I'm 30, I'm 31, 32 at the time. I'm like, Whitley, love you. Not going in. I'm good. I can do that with my life now. I'm an adult.
I didn't know there was a $20 cover or whatever it was. I wasn't about to pay that.
Yeah.
To get in. So
no. Yeah, I'm not I'm at the point in my life now where I'm like, if I don't want to do something, I don't need excuses. I don't need to give reasons. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
Like last night, we had the Giants caviar sweet night, and I was gonna go because usually like once a year, maybe twice a year, caviar hooks up a nice suite at the Giants game, and most of the part-time staff and some of the full-time staff were gonna go last night and drink some beers, eat some pizza, whatnot. The last 2 days, God, they gave us free Carl's Jr. at the radio station, along with free Itsits. Those are things that are tasty. And you know me, I love free food, but I also am mindful of what I eat. But I probably shouldn't do both. And yeah, had just terrible stomach pains. I was like, I got to power through to get to the suite. Then I was like, you know what? No, I don't. I don't have to go. I'm a grown-ass man. I'm going to go home. That's what I did.
Good for you.
Yes.
Dude, Itsits were, how do I put it? They were almost mythical growing up because you drive to the airport, at least for me, growing up in Fremont. If you drove to SFO and you took 101 all the way out there, there was that big sign on the side of the freeway, the It's It sign, but you never really saw them too much. So you're like, wow, that It's It looks so good. That photo of it looks so good. And when you tried one for the first time, the chocolate covered cookie ice cream sandwich, oh, it's delicious.
No, they are scrumptious.
How long's it been since you've had a popsicle?
Great question. It's summertime staple.
That's the first time you've said great question in a long time. Have you had a popsicle lately?
It's just a question you don't get often in life. The last time I had a popsicle, can't say, Steven. I don't even remember.
Yeah, I don't either. And Jesse decided on a whim, we added like through the Safeway app, we added a bunch of stuff to the cart so we could pick up some groceries. I didn't have much time today, so I did the curbside pickup thing. And I always feel terrible when I do that because someone else brings out my groceries and it feels weird.
I've never done that before. I feel like I feel like no shame to you, but like my perspective, you need to pick up your own damn groceries.
I agree, but I didn't have any time today, so I just decided to order them. And Jesse put popsicles in there. God, it's been a long time since I've had a popsicle. And I was going to have one before the pod, but I forgot that they're in the freezer. So I'm going to have one after, like right before bed. Everyone knows that's good for you.
Well, you know what's not good for you before you go to bed?
What's that?
Hot sauce. But I let it go last time. It's been enough time, Steven.
Yeah, I know.
You were ready to go. You just didn't want to do it.
No, I had the chips from the last time. I just left them here.
Oh God, are they like?
What do you mean? Oh God, what does it matter?
Well, they've been. You do little clippies on the chip bag.
Yeah. Who do you think I am? A Neanderthal?
Sometimes I don't do the chip. I don't do the chip clips. I just roll my bags up, and sometimes they get pretty stale.
You gotta clip the chip.
I know. You know what I should do? I eat cereal. I usually do Rice Krispies or Corn Chex or Cheerios, and I need to be like who's my guy in Forgetting Sarah Marshall? I forget his name? But Jason Segel. But I can't remember the character's name. Where he put those. My mom used to have them back in the day. The cereal containers. Oh, and now my cereal is just the freshest cereal.
No, I always had the freshest cereal.
Yeah. By the way, just looking at the chat tonight, Tacky pretty much nailing it. Derek missed a sweet to poop. Yep, pretty much. I had to poop, and that's a long walk from Embarcadero to Oracle Park. So just felt like going home and pooping.
Did you wait? You walked all the way to Embarcadero from Oracle?
That's usually what I do to get to Oracle Park. Yeah,
dude, take Muni.
I'm not a Muni guy.
What do you mean you're not a Muni guy? What does that mean?
I'm a BART man and BART only.
It's right there. It's the same station.
Scares me. I haven't done it before.
Okay.
I'm frightened by it. I don't know where to go.
I had that problem the other day. We went to at the Valkyries game because it was the Juneteenth holiday. They had the Sunday bus line, and they didn't have the regular one, so we had to walk from Chase Center to Oracle Park to the Muni. And I was like, there's sometimes when I'm good with being solo, I beelined it, no pun intended, because I was taking public transit. I beelined it to the Muni at Oracle Park, and I caught the train at the last second. There was a bunch of people. I was weaving in and out of people. I kind of felt bad, but at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, suckers. And then I ended up making it. I was really proud of myself, but I was also pissed that they didn't have the bus running from Chase Center like they normally do from Warriors games. Okay.
Sorry. Well, you know what? Hey, at the end of the day, you got it done.
Mm-hmm. All right. There's the chip with the sauce.
That's a good amount of glob.
There you go. Who's this young phony Farias?
It's a whole story, Steven.
Oh, God. Is this another can be our chat deal?
Yeah, there's a whole thing with. Are you familiar with Young Tony on Murph and Marcus's program?
No, I work in the morning.
Fair enough. There is Young Tony Farias. It's been a running joke for about over a year now that we were going to have a barbecue at his house for 4th of July, and it's gotten to the point now where we made flyers and everything for this fake party. I think I mentioned it last year, and it's been a running joke at KMBR, and the chat's aware of it. But young Tony Farias is not a fan of the whole thing because he's not going to have a party at his house, and he's worried that all of these hooligans in the chat are actually going to show up at his house. And Techie specifically, because he's like, I don't want Tacky showing up at my house. I don't need that shit. So they've gone after the young man because the Mexican American Dream called in to the morning show and was talking about the party, and young Tony cut him off, which led to a whole thing where we were like, you can't cut the man off just because he's joking about a party at your house.
Some weird stuff you got going on at your station, man. All right, here we go.
Yeah. It's just, YouTube chat stuff. Which, by the way, everybody, like I said last time, if you want to ask any questions tonight, we're down to do it. Your questions, man. If you write any questions, yep, Steven's suffering from the chip.
It's still the same sauce. I think it's old. It's probably expired.
Yeah, I would say so. You probably need to re-up.
Oh.
But I don't know if they have expiration dates on hot sauce. By the way, what shirt are you wearing? Are you wearing a Mia Wallace shirt?
Yeah, dude, $5 shirt.
Fuck yeah, I love that. So yeah, if you have any questions that you want to ask, we'll read them in the chat tonight. Any questions about really anything? By the way, I really want to go to that Wu-Tang Clan concert at Chase Center with Run the Jewels opening. You know who went?
Your dad?
Yep. The fuck?
Oh, Greg.
Sue! Can you imagine him? And by the way,
was he wearing a hat, like a Wu-Tang hat?
No, he probably didn't even know who the Wu-Tang Clan were before he went to the concert.
Your dad's up on pop culture. He knows who the Wu-Tang Clan was.
I don't see. That's an obscure one sometimes, where the Wu-Tang Clan is popular for you and me, but my dad was in his 30s when the Wu-Tang Clan came out. So I don't know if he really knows who the hell the Jizza, the RZA, Old Dirty Bastard, Raekwon the Chef, Inspector Deck, Ghostface Killer.
Meth, Derek.
Oh, Clifford Smith. And by the way, I'm just quoting the man today, and the YouTube chat will back me up here. He referred to the Wu-Tang Clan. He's like, there's a lot of people in this Wu-Tang Clan. They bring the ruckus. How many members are... How many... He didn't say members, actually. How many clanmen are in the Wu-Tang Clan? That's the way my dad phrased it today.
Oh, Greg.
Anyway.
Oh, hi.
Yeah. You'll be fine. But yeah, like I said, if there's
Oh,
anybody in the chat that has questions, like Techie right here, can we talk Aaron Rodgers? Can we? I don't know. I don't really want to mention anything with him, but he did go on McAfee the other day, and I get what you're saying, Steven. Annoying, acting like oh, when I retire, I'm gonna be gone, and I don't want anybody bothering me. So yeah, I get it. He's annoying, but I just focus on the quarterback.
Yeah, but I need to confirm something. We could talk about something else, and I'm going to look this part up because if I misheard it, I could have misheard it. But it sounded like him and Mike Tomlin were taking a walk on the beach when paparazzi saw him. I didn't hear
that part. I didn't hear that part.
I could be wrong. It's what it sounded like. I gotta search up the interview because I listened to it today.
Let me be honest. I know I've been the Aaron Rodgers guy on this podcast, but now that he's signed with the Steelers, I really didn't care about the interview. I watched a little bit of it, but the previous ones I watched were just to get some intel if he's actually going to sign with the team. Now I don't care. I really don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, oh no, he wasn't walking on a beach with Mike Tomlin. It was some other guy named Mike. Yeah, it was. It's just a whole thing, man. He goes on like a diatribe about the media and how the public are so interested in his private life, but I get what he's saying. He's just a jerk. like that's pretty much it. And it doesn't sound like he cares that he sounds like one. So do you, Aaron? Do you? You do not sound like the most reasonable human being on the planet.
I kind of respect it a little bit, but at the same time, it's like you're on McAfee's show. They're part of the problem, like McAfee, mentioned. So whatever. Yeah. The whole thing's hypocritical. Just some questions in the chat here. Tacky asks, Derek, why the fuck would you listen to D12 with your mom? So I told the story today about when I was younger. Since my dad went to the hip hop show today, the Wu-Tang Clan show, or last night. I told them about how my mom, I was going to go to a D12 concert, and then my mom heard the D12 album, Devil's Night, and then was like, you're not going to see that show, ripped up my tickets, and I didn't go to the show. I didn't listen with her, Tacky. I made the mistake of buying tickets to a show, then telling my mom, hey, Mom, would you mind while I'm at school going to the local warehouse music, buying me the album, and then I can get it on, or I can get it on. I can watch, I can listen to the album when she brings it back. And that's what happened. She listened to the album on her own, opened it up. She saw like some of the songs, and she was like, what is this? And listened to it. She's like, my son's not going to this fucking concert. So I wasn't listening to the album with her, which would have been extremely awkward.
Yeah. Ernie, too. You guys care about this year's NBA draft?
Great question, because that's where we're going to start things tonight. To answer your question simply, no, I do not. Cooper Flagg went first overall to the Dallas Mavericks, which we all anticipated. But besides that, I saw a couple of funny moments. Malika Andrews mispronounced somebody's name and called him Colin Cowherd when I think it's not that whatsoever. Yeah, hold on. Let me get the actual.
Called him Colin Cowherd.
Called him Colin Cowherd when his name is Cedric Cowherd.
That's a slip up. That's a Freudian slip. Look, I would, and I'd care about the results. It's the same as the NFL draft. I don't care about the preview leading up to it. I don't care where people think people are going to land. The only problem I have with the draft is there are a lot of trades, and the top 20 picks could pan out, but the rest, I've already made the analogy when you're in like the 6th and 7th rounds of the draft, but you're pretty much throwing darts at a dartboard as an average person, and some might stick. Sometimes you'll hit a bullseye, but sometimes you'll completely miss the board and you'll be creating holes in the wall, and you'll have to spackle that wall all over. Spackle it all over. All that spackle.
Thank God I extended my lease and have to worry about spackling for quite some time.
But the NBA draft is like that after the top 20. Like the top 20, those guys might turn into some good players. It's just the unlikelihood that guys drafted in like the second round are going to become perennial starters that are going to help their teams to the playoffs. Like, sure, I'm interested in like the top 15, the top 20, but other than that, like I would dare you to try and name all of the second round picks from last year that played this year. Like it's pretty rare. But if you're going in like the top 10, then there's a reason you're going top 10. So it's hard to care about the draft.
Well, it's so weird because JD was explaining it to me today that basically nothing's official. Like besides Desmond Bane being traded to the Orlando Magic, like we're still waiting for like official, statement or Twitter post of Kevin Durant going to the Houston Rockets. So the draft capital that you acquired in trades that happened before the draft, like you don't really have those picks. So those teams have to tell those teams, like the teams that acquired the draft pick have to tell the other team who we want to draft. It's a whole fucked up weird thing. So the NBA draft's very weird. There's another one. Steven, I sent you the clip of the guy. You mind playing this clip real quick of the kid that got drafted by the Toronto Raptors and he doesn't look thrilled whatsoever? Actually mouths fuck. Watch this.
The University of South Carolina.
Colin Murray Boyles shakes his head and you can see him audibly say, fuck out loud. That's rough.
University of South Carolina.
Fuck.
Colin Murray Boyles.
That poor guy.
Also, is that like his girlfriend to his left? You could tell immediately she's making that face like, ooh, he didn't want to go there.
South Carolina.
Hey.
Yeah.
Ooh. Hey, honey.
Colin Murray Boyles.
Tough.
Yeah, I mean, you have to know that's going to happen sometimes. You get drafted in professional sports. You're going to go to a destination you don't want to go to, but you got to make the best of it. You're playing sports.
What, man? Like, what? You don't want to go play with Grady Dick?
Is that who's at Toronto right now?
Yeah, you don't want to play with Grady Dick?
Well, who's on that team right now? Isn't
Grady Dick?
Yeah, you said that, Steven. I get it. Who's the guy from the Pelicans that was on the Lakers? He's on Toronto right now. Big dude.
I can't even tell you the Raptors roster at all.
Long, lanky dude.
Oh, yeah, Brandon Ingram. Scotty Barnes is a good player, and they do have
Scotty Barnes, best player in all of basketball.
Exactly. They do have one of my favorite head coaches in all of the league, who's Darko Rajakovic. I can't remember his name. I'm blanking on it right now. Even though he's one of my favorites, I am blanking on his name. Yeah, Darko Rajakovic.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's funny. He sounds like Gru a little bit. But what we're paying attention to a little bit more are the trades that went down. So we talked about Kevin Durant being traded on Sunday. But the trades that transpired after that happened on Monday and yesterday, and even just a couple of hours ago. Yeah, so basically the Boston Celtics know that it's going to be a shit show next season. And when the NBA goes to this new salary cap structure and second aprons and whatnot, you got to change things up. You got to pay a hefty price for two players in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So that means you have to trade away players, kind of like what the owner of the Nuggets said the other day, where you don't want to lose and then you contemplate trading Nikola Jokic. I understand what he was saying. Probably shouldn't have said it out loud, but it did make sense. But people are going to clip that part off where he says, I don't want to trade away 15. And they're like, why would you even mention that? So Drew Holiday was traded to the Portland Trail Blazers. Funny enough, that's the team that acquired him when the Milwaukee Bucks made the Damian Lillard trade, and then they moved him to the Boston Celtics. Anthony Simons goes in that trade along with 2 2s. Then yesterday, CJ McCollum, Kelly Olynyk, and a second-round pick go to the Wizards, and former Warrior Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and 40th overall go to the New Orleans Pelicans. And then a guy that was tied to the Warriors, Kristaps Porzingis, was traded to the Atlanta Hawks for a second-round pick. Now it's it's much more than what the Warriors had. Warriors had 41st overall, and the Hawks had, I think, 22nd overall. So, which I guess that would be a first-round pick. Now that I'm thinking about it, wouldn't that be or I thought that they traded away a second-round pick. I could be wrong on that.
Who?
But
what? Who?
Kristaps Porzingis.
I got a
Oh,
second.
no, sorry, my bad. It's a Porzingis and a second round pick traded to the Hawks, along with Terrence Mann, who goes to the Nets. It's a whole convoluted three-way trade. Bottom line is Kristaps Porzingis goes to the Hawks, and then just a couple of hours ago, Mark Williams, who was supposed to be dealt to the Lakers and then failed his physical, he goes to the Phoenix Suns right after they draft a center, which not that weird to me because you don't know if your first round pick's going to play right away, so you get a veteran. But so far that's the NBA trades that have went down during and before the draft.
I got nothing on them, to be honest.
Yeah, they're not like basically bottom line, like I said, Boston's retooling, which kind of, people are inquiring about Derek White or Jaylen Brown. I highly doubt Jaylen Brown's getting dealt.
Yeah.
And I would also kind of be surprised if Derek White was dealt as well. He just got a contract last year. He's going to have 4 years remaining, and that'll be the perfect player for the Warriors, but it's going to be a lot to get him. Like, I don't know what you would do. Like, you'd probably have to be a three-way trade and move Kuminga. I don't think the Boston Celtics want to take Kuminga on, but no, Derek White, I mean, we know from a year ago that Steve Kerr values Derek White because he wanted him in the Olympics and not Jason Tatum. Well, he didn't play Jason Tatum, didn't, have Jaylen Brown on his team. So Derek White would be perfect because I think what we want to see this offseason, and I don't know if you feel the same, Steven, but to me, I want to find a starting 2 and I want to find a starting 5. I want Brandon Pajemski coming off the bench. I want Moses Moody coming off the bench. And in a perfect scenario, I would like Jonathan Kuminga to come off the bench. But given the way that he sounded in this interview with Anthony Slater, I highly doubt that's going to happen. But I think the Warriors need to look in free agency to find a starting 2 guard and a big man so Draymond doesn't have to be that guy anymore.
I agree. I think it's a big man that I want personally, like not so much the starting 2 guard. Because I don't think the Warriors really have like even a starting point guard and a starting shooting guard. You got Steph, who's a combo guard, and anyone who can make it work with Steph. So whoever can deserves that spot. I don't know who that player is going to be. I just have a very strong feeling, and I don't know why. I haven't even looked at his contract, but I feel like it's going to be Brook Lopez. I always feel like it's going to be.
I mean, that's not terrible. He's a stretch 5. He could shoot, but he's 37, 38.
About to be like 36, yeah.
So that defeats the whole purpose of, like, again, like we talked the other day, I think it's going to be really difficult for the Warriors to win a championship the next 2 years here with OKC being around and how young they are. And not to mention, I know Kevin Durant's the outlier, but Houston's young. Denver's young. Minnesota's young. The Warriors' 3 main guys are old, and like I don't want to offend Draymond because I know he doesn't like this, but you're not old for the earth. You're old for a basketball NBA starting lineup. You have Steph, who's going to be 37 right now, right? So he's going to be 38.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy Butler and Draymond will be 36. Yeah, man. I don't know how they pull this off unless they get some massive trades for some young talent. I have my doubts. I do think they need to find a young big man and a young 2 guard, but I don't know how feasible it is, to be truthful.
Yeah. Well, the 3 guys that Monty Poole brought up after Mike Dunleavy essentially said, like, we've got some free agents in mind, so we'll just try to make it work. The 3 are one of them was Brook Lopez, and I didn't even see this article until now. Brook Lopez was just a guess because I knew he was a free agent. But Brook Lopez is up there. Clint Capella, 31 years old. He is a free agent. And you'd probably think that Kevon Looney would have a job over him. But I don't know. He's still a free agent. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they took a look at him. But it sounds like the guy that you want, the type that you want, wouldn't be a free agent. It would have to be a trade candidate. And look at Dallas with Daniel Gafford. 26 years old, 6'10", and he's one of 4 big men in Dallas right now because you got Dwight Powell, Derek Lively, and, of course, Anthony Davis. But there's the Anthony Davis injury factor. So they probably want to keep 4 big men rostered anyway. But Daniel Gafford could be one that fits the bill for you.
Well, Steven, I don't think so because he just signed a contract the other day for $60 million. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hey, well, it's 3 years, 39 over the weekend.
Yeah, but they're not going to sign him and then trade him away.
Why not?
It would be part of the transaction. It wouldn't be just like, let's sign him to it. It would be part of like the same tweet. You know what I mean? Like when they announced the news.
Mm-hmm. And there's also drafts. So unfortunately, Derek, there's not much out there.
I know there's not. Clint Capella, sorry, I saw him enough with the Rockets back in the day. And you mentioned Loon Dog. I don't know if Loon Dog's coming back. I love him. Maybe you still need him. I would gladly take him back. But if they're really looking to upgrade the center position, love Loon Dog in moments. I'll always forget that 2022 NBA Finals run where he was a factor with the boards. But if you can, I would move off of Kevon Looney. I bring GP2 back, but if you really want to upgrade the center position, I think you need to go another direction. And I think that you can have Quinn and Post be that stretch big off the bench, Trey Jackson-Davis off the bench. My ideal second unit is Podziemski, Moses Moody, GP2, Kuminga, and Trey Jackson-Davis. But I don't think sounds more and more likely that Jonathan Kuminga will not be coming back because he values himself way too much than I do, and I think the Warriors do, except for Joe Lacob.
Can we bring that up?
Yeah, go for it.
Good Lord. Like, this guy is taking this scenic route and trying to request a trade. Just say you want out of the Warriors. Like, just say it. He's saying everything that is wrong with wanting to stay with your current team. Like, the comments that he made to Slater, dude, I didn't even look at first when I, saw the article came out. I didn't really have much time to read it in the morning because, I was doing other reports. So I decided that I wanted to just look at the quotes. I just wanted to read the quotes. I didn't want to read anything else beyond that. And that was at first. And my jaw dropped. It was just like, I shouldn't have been surprised, but reading those words, I'm like, what are you doing, Kuminga?
Do you have them in front of you? Because I do, if you want me to read them.
Well, I got them on right here.
Okay.
So the first is Slater going on about how he fit in last season, blah, 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 how he wants to be up there with the greats.
He's training in Cleveland right now and getting ready for free agency, and Slater caught up with him.
Yeah. Quote, that's what's been on my mind. Things take time, but I feel like I'm at the point where that has to be my priority, to just be one of the guys a team relies on, aiming to be an all-star multiple times, aiming to be great. Wherever I'm going to be at, it don't matter if it's the Warriors or it's anywhere else. It's something I want. I want to see what I could do. I know I got it, so I want to really see. I've never got that chance.
He did. He got that chance. He got it multiple times. And I keep bringing this up, but it's video evidence of him playing in a game with Steph Curry and dribbling the ball up the court and not doing the assigned thing. And Steph is shaking his head. He's got multiple chances. He started in playoff games when they went on the finals run against Memphis. And he was young and inexperienced, but it's not like he's gotten plenty of opportunities to practice. He just doesn't want to do the style of basketball that Steve Kerr wants to do. Sorry, go on.
And in these workouts, during a 9-day snapshot in mid-June, he took 3,145 threes and 3,251 shots inside the arc, making 56% of his threes, some catch and shoot, some off the dribble, and 72% of his twos. 56% when there's no one guarding him in the gym. I don't know how good that is. The more you hit those shots, those mid-rangers, paint pull-ups, and floaters, the more teams start adjusting on you. The more you make your team better. The more people rely on you and let you do those things and let you shoot those types of shots. That's pretty much what I'm putting a lot of work in, getting to my area where I want to get my shots off and getting better and bring my percentages up.
Again, like this article does say that he wants to pass more, but I don't see any quotes about it. I don't see like anything about wanting to be a better teammate. And I know that's like very the cheesy way for me to look at it and everything. Like realistically, Free agency, you offer yourself. But he also is a restricted free agent. Like, this could end with nobody giving him an offer sheet, and then he has to come back to the Warriors and see what they offer him. So, yeah, this is his plea to the Warriors to make him a starter. And I don't think that's going to happen. From everything that Steve Kerr has said this offseason is that maybe he's earned the right to play with Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green. But it doesn't mean he'll be in the starting rotation. He said in an interview with Tim Kawakami he doesn't view him as a 38-minute player. So it's either you accept the role, be a good teammate, be a sixth man, come off the bench, and we could go from there. And you could be a difference maker for this team. But if it's all about just I want to be an all-star, I want to be a difference maker, I want to be the guy, then this is not the place for you. Bottom line.
I did it here and there, but it was never a consistent role given to me. It only happens 5 games on, 10 games off. I want it to be a consistent role because I know what I got. I know what I could bring. I know how much work I put in. I know I'm dedicated to the game, how much I love the game. Look, man, I am not going to – oh, hang on. There's one more. I trust my people. I trust my agent. I want to know more about how this trade stuff goes, how this sign and trade goes, or how this contract goes. I want to learn more about it. But most of the time, I just focus on playing, just working. The better I get, wherever I get my chance, it's going to show. Wherever I go, wherever I'll be, off the rip, I just want them to be like, oh, yeah, he deserved what he got. He deserved to be here. He worked hard for it. Wherever it is, that's what I want it to feel like. I want to be great. I feel like I'm capable of being that, capable of doing some special things, and I won't just let it go like that. The only way to get there is just to lock in every single day, which we've heard him time and time again. The work ethic has never been questioned. It was the same with Jordan Poole. The work ethic has never been questioned. But when you see it on the court, you see him doing things offensively that jump off the screen. And you're like, wow. But then you see him do other things like come into the game and make an errant pass, turn the ball over, make some dumb decisions, not grab any rebounds, not play any defense. It sounds like his goals that he has in mind, they could fit with another team. It's not to say Kuminga is not going to be any good and he's not going to live up to whatever expectations he put on himself. Maybe he can be a multi-time all-star, but I just don't think that is going to work with the Warriors. And I say this in a roundabout way, like if you want to turn into this player, you should have recognized this earlier and just requested a trade. You're in the NBA. You have the power as a player, and you could just say, look, I was coming up to my rookie extension. I was going to be eligible for it. But I want you guys to trade me away. It's exactly what happened with Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin wasn't getting enough minutes in New York. Julius Randle came by. Jalen Brunson just got signed and his minutes decreased. And so they traded him before he was eligible. He went to the Pacers on a 1-year prove-it deal, still on his rookie deal, really. And then they ended up giving him like a 4-year, I think like $60 million contract or something. Maybe it was $58 million. But now it's like turning into this thing where I don't know if he's going to be Grant Williams, where Grant Williams was involved in a sign and trade from the Celtics and ended up going to, I think he went to Charlotte or San Antonio. They ended up getting traded. I forgot what happened with his whole thing. But he was a restricted free agent. I was looking back on it. Like I was trying to think of comps for Kuminga. And Grant Williams was one of them, but he ended up getting traded too. Just rarely does it ever work out for restricted free agents. And he tried betting on himself, thinking that he was going to get a contract extension with the Warriors, and he ended up losing that bet. And now he's in this weird place where it's like they can give him a contract, but I guarantee you it's not going to be what he wants. They feel like they have like a lot of leverage here. And the reason that they are restricted free agents is because, other teams can dictate what his value is. But what is his value from these other teams if he ends up getting like a contract offer? Would the Warriors match that? I don't know. But it's just those comments, whatever. Like, I'm not going to question like Kuminga, the human being. He seems to be a solid all around dude, but I think he's just got to be a little more realistic.
He's delusional. This has gone on for way too long, and it just feels like he doesn't have a lot of respect for Steve Kerr. He's sounding like he's Kevin Durant a little bit, where, no surprise, I think, to you or me, Steven, but Logan Murdoch, who, covered the Warriors back in the day and now does it on a national landscape for the Ringer, had a great article about Kevin Durant and basically said a big reason why he left was because of Steve Kerr. And I can think of multiple things that last season that signals to that. It was the whole, Steve Kerr being mic'd up in the Western Conference Finals and telling Kevin Durant a story about Michael Jordan not passing the ball enough. He was scoring enough, but not passing the ball, getting his teammates involved. And you could see it on Kevin Durant's face. He was pissed off by that. Not to mention a 60 Minutes interview where it's Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson all talking about how they love the style of basketball. And Kevin Durant's like, yeah, but I wish we, didn't have to pass as much. Or Kevin Durant in a press conference openly saying, oh, I'm sorry, I thought we were playing with joy. Isn't that the whole thing? We're playing with joy? Mocking Steve Kerr. This isn't a surprise, but it's good. It's a good article, and Kevin Durant took exception with it, calling out Logan Murdoch. But Kevin Durant has earned that right as an established player because he's fucking Kevin Durant. He's a really good player. Jonathan Kuminga, I'm sorry, bro, but who are you? You're a very, very talented player, but you're acting like you're Kobe Bryant or Kawhi Leonard. Like you want to be the straw that stirs the drink. By all means, bro, like go to Miami then or go to Washington or whatever. Like if you want to be the guy, go to one of those teams. It's not going to be with the Warriors. Steph Curry's the guy. Right or wrong, I believe right because the man has 4 fucking championships. That's the way you should go about it. You should be willing to be a role player on this team, and then maybe one day you will get your shine. But he doesn't want to wait. He feels like he's the shit. So I don't know. I'm kind of over it. I think that he didn't request a trade, Stephen, because he knows that Joe Lacob loves him and maybe he'll side with him, while Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green have their views on it. And it's telling in this article where he's like, whether it's the Warriors or whether it's someplace else, same thing that Steph Curry and Draymond Green said at the end of the year press conferences. It wasn't a ringing endorsement for those guys, or it wasn't a ringing endorsement for both those guys to say, we want Kuminga around. It was like, good kid, fine player. Maybe it's here, maybe it's elsewhere. I'm assuming they want it to be elsewhere. I don't think they want this guy around because he doesn't fit the style of basketball that they want to play. They tried it. They had Draymond, coming off the bench, and they gave Kuminga his shine, and then he got hurt. Fair or unfair, that's life sometimes. And then Jimmy Butler came in, and he became expendable. That's how I view it. And I think that the bottom line right now from this article is I believe that the Warriors should look to trade Jonathan Kuminga because it sounds like there's legitimate interest for the Miami Heat. So that's what I would do. I would shop him around. If he's not willing whatsoever to do a 1-year contract and be a 6-man, then it's time for you to go someplace else.
And he clearly hasn't listened to what Kerr wants him to be. The one player that Kerr wanted to be, as you mentioned his comments to Tim Kawakami, but also what Kerr said to Tom, he wanted Kuminga to be Sean Marion. And
yes,
Sean Marion was like one of the more underrated, I guess, wasn't much of a passer, but he was an underrated defender. He was a great rebounder and an advanced stat dream. Like if you want to get into advanced statistics, fine. If you don't want to get into those, but that's where Sean Marion's value kind of really shows. And he's one of the all-time great players in Suns history, Phoenix Suns history, that is. I don't know what other Suns I'd be talking about. He's one of the all-time great in terms of the advanced stats. We're talking wins above replacement value, win share, a player rating, and different things like that. And Kuminga, his numbers are minuscule compared to what Marion's were, just advanced-wise. I just clearly he hasn't listened to him because everything that he's working on, that's not what Sean Marion was. Like clearly Kuminga, I think you made the perfect comparison. Kuminga wants to be Kobe. He wants to be that individual player who's going to get a bucket at any time. And he's the one that defenses think about instead of being, the one who kind of sneaks around and all of a sudden makes that backdoor cut, which he used to be, but he just doesn't want to be that player. And that's fine. Again, that's fine. It just feels like we're heading on the track of a Jordan Poole 2023 season where it was almost wasted, where you knew, like, even if they give him a contract, you feel like that contract isn't going to last long. Like you feel like that's going to be one where they'll just give him a reasonable deal so that it's tradable by the deadline. And maybe you can pick up some assets or, as you mentioned, if things don't work out with, say, Pajemski or Moody as a starter, I'd expect those guys to be there. Maybe they'll want to make a trade at the deadline. You never know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hear you, Steven. And going to the chat real quick from incredible basketball insight from my childhood friend Andy Young here. Look, they can pick whoever they want, but they're never going to defeat the Monstars. Have you seen those big, colorful fucks? They're scary as shit. Yeah, I'm with you, Andy. And also, he elaborates here. Yeah, but he was a cheater. He was cheating with Flubber. I could prove it. I've seen him put that green shit on. Cowards at ESPN won't talk about it. Yeah, that's my buddy Andy.
Go Squirrels.
What?
Yeah, that was the team. That was the team in Flubber.
Oh, yeah. Shout out
Yeah.
Dan Dibley. He's there.
Yeah, he is.
He's a Flubber.
Yeah, he's on the team. Yeah, he's put those little shoe things on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Flubber. Great movie.
Yeah.
And shout out Andy.
All time.
Love you, buddy.
Great contribution.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Actually,
yeah,
that's
Steve-
the best contribution we've had all show.
You think so out of everybody in the chat tonight?
Yeah, Flubber's an all-time fave.
Oh yeah, but I always tell me and my Andy's an old college buddy. We used to live together. It was me and my buddy Andy and Jamie. And the thing that got me every time with Flubber, it wasn't the fact that there was a green substance that would morph into things and be fucking insane. The thing that got me was Robin Williams attempted to marry this woman 3 times, and that woman came back every single time. After the first time, he missed the wedding. Probably he's done so, wouldn't you think?
You'd think so, but he was a changed man. She misunderstood him. Professor Brainerd was a misunderstood creature.
I'm glad you remember the name of the character, Stephen. And I was anticipating that at some point, Robin Williams would leave his wife and get with the robot that was basically his, I guess, assistant.
Don't you dare talk about Weibo that way. That was a tough scene where my man from Silence of the Lambs crushed Weibo with a baseball bat.
Are we talking about Buffalo Bill?
Buffalo Bill.
Did he call her a great big fat lady as well? Aren't you a great big fat person?
He went before he hit her with the baseball bat. He was trying to get her to put the lotion in the basket, and it wasn't working out. Isn't that crazy that in that movie, 2 villains in a kid's film were some of the all-time great villains in other movies?
You're talking, of course, about Shooter McGavin, who was also a villain in Flubber.
You also have Shooter McGavin. Then you have the henchman guy who is also not only the villain in Highlander, but also the main villain in Shawshank, the main cop.
The main cop? You talking about you talking about Mr. Krabs?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's in that.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Anyway, no, yeah. Andy, thank you for having us go down this tangent.
Big time stuff.
Oh, of course. Back to Jonathan Kuminga real quick. So as Anthony Slater says in the article that there's legitimate interest from the Miami Heat because they missed out on Kevin Durant. So my first thought, I think everybody had the same thought, was, would you want Andrew Wiggins back? And I don't know, maybe the contracts would line up that way. I think Andrew Wiggins is making roughly $20 million a year. So maybe if the Heat would give Jonathan Kuminga a contract, maybe it looks like that. So maybe that's all you need in the trade. I know some people would say, what about Tyler Hero? What about Bam Adebayo? I don't know if they're going to send those guys. I think Andrew Wiggins is probably more feasible. If that's on the table, I do that in a heartbeat. I would gladly take Andrew Wiggins back, have him be your starting 2 guard, and find a big in free agency. Really?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, I think that's pretty ideal.
You think so?
Yeah, man, because Wiggins is young enough. He could play that role very well. You have him and Jimmy Butler.
Don't do this, Derek. Don't do this to yourself.
Why is this a bad idea?
Because you're talking yourself into Andrew Wiggins when we've gone through an entire career of his talking about how it's time for them to move on from him. Because we go through the thing where it's Andrew Wiggins is invisible. He doesn't know how to fit in. Now that Jimmy Butler is kind of in what Wiggins' role was previously, Where does he actually fit? How is this working? It's not really working right now. I'm sorry. I think the Andrew Wiggins experiment was met with great success, but I'm kind of over trying to bring him back in that idea. I don't think that's getting them much closer to a championship.
I think it helps them, and I think that it would definitely improve the bench when you don't have to rely on Brandon Pajemski to be your starting two guard. I think that there's things that Andrew Wiggins can benefit from Jimmy Butler now being a part of the starting lineup, where he doesn't have to be more focused on scoring. But then again, maybe he has less pressure on him and less attention. And that would open things up for Jimmy Butler to be more of the point man and be an assist guy and then leave things open for Andrew Wiggins. And Andrew Wiggins is a pretty solid defender. Like, if you go back in time and trade Jonathan Kuminga away and keep Andrew Wiggins with Jimmy Butler, I gladly take that. But also, he was an asset you can move to get Jimmy Butler. So I get that. But at the same time, yeah, if it's on the table, you get him back, and they're offering you, like, they're not going to give you Tyler Hero. They're not going to give you Bam Adebayo. I would take Andrew Wiggins if that's on the table.
I don't know. I mean, okay, if he joins it, fine. Like, but it's not going to be a move that excites me. Like, you're making very good points, but I just think we're going to get caught in the trap here where you're trying to think of reasons as to why he would work now. Like, I get it, Ernie, too. Wiggins only works if he's a fourth option. Wiggins didn't work here because Wiggins needed to be the second option. I got to side with Derek on this one. No, he didn't. Clay was there for most of the time. Last year was the only time he really needed to be the second option. I think we'd run into the thing where Wiggins is invisible at times on the court and you're wondering where the hell he is.
I think it would be different with more scoring on the floor, but yeah, that could definitely happen. But what are your options though, Steven? Like, I don't think Derek White's happening.
No, they don't have a lot of options. They really don't.
Yeah. And to Otis Bird's point here, could Wiggins and Butler coexist after what happened in Minnesota? You know, that's a great question. And I would say yes, because even though Jimmy had his problems with Andrew Wiggins, it was mainly because of a contract. He always said afterwards, Andrew Wiggins was the most talented player I ever played with.
Yeah.
So I think he could be mature in that situation, hopefully. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'm just looking for anything at this point, man. Like, if I'm being realistic, I don't think there's anything they could do where they can compete with the Thunder. So fuck it. Let's, if Andrew Wiggins can come back, I'm all for that.
But also, like, let's look at what they did last year. I mean, the playoff run, it ended because Steph and Jimmy weren't the same. They were one of the best teams in the NBA at the end of the season, regular season last year. I know it's just the regular season and no one wants to hear that because they came up short in the postseason, but they were pretty damn good. So you're going to need more from Pajemski and Moody for sure.
Yeah, so, definitely.
But I don't know. I'm more on the side of you can kind of stick with it. Like, I don't think you need to make any crazy moves. But I guess if Wiggins joins them, so I'll be happy for him because Steve Kerr seemed to love the guy. So
exactly. So yeah, and then like we're gonna talk about like what moves they can make this offseason. At this point, I'm leaning in the direction that they're probably gonna trade Kuminga, but we'll see what happens. I hope this isn't a thing where like if we ever got a notification that Jonathan Kuminga just signed with the Warriors on a 5-year contract, like a max deal or 4-year deal, that's where I'd be like, all right, this is Steve Kerr's last season with the Warriors. He's not putting up with this.
Yeah.
So I hope that's not like a whole ego thing between Joe Lacob and Steve Kerr. I hope that at the end of the day they listen to Steve and value his opinion. I think they do at this point. The man's won 4 championships. And also Mike Dunleavy Jr. has to make the best decision for his basketball team. And I think that he would probably lean in the direction of Steve Kerr just, being in that organization. And I know that Bob Myers drafted the guy, and I'm assuming that Mike Dunleavy was around the organization when that went down. But I think he also knows if something isn't working out, then it's probably best to move on. And they even acknowledge that having Jimmy Butler kind of makes Jonathan Kuminga redundant. So, yeah, I would have to guess at this point they'll probably trade him. And we'll see what happens. But just to answer the question that I posed, Stephen, last podcast, just a quick answer now. Do you think the Warriors could do anything to compete with the Thunder in the next 2 years and win a championship?
Not really.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
telling the Thunder are only going to get better, man.
Yep.
I mean, if that's going to be, I think the only thing they can hope for is that they don't have to face the Thunder in the playoffs.
Yeah, but I think that team, I mean, they're so young. Like you saw after they won, Mark Daignault was on the court and they were all having fun drinking. And a lot of these guys don't even drink. Like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was the only one that looked hungover the next day when they had Jalen Williams. Both Jalen Williams don't drink. And Jalen Williams did an interview with ESPN, and he was asked, so what do you think about drinking for the first time? He was like, oh, I had beers, I had shots, I had champagne. It's all gross. I'm sticking to Roy Rogers next time, or Shirley Temples, he actually said. Roy Rogers is Kirk Cousins in the new quarterback trailer.
What happened to the game we love, Derek?
I know. All these guys are, who's the Lakers virgin?
AC Law? AC Green?
AC Green. All these guys are AC Green now.
Dude, what happened? Just what's going on? They were boring, to be honest. Like so boring. You said they were celebrating and having a good time. They did not look like they had a good time. They looked like they knew that the championship came with an asterisk, and you know, just to kind of real quick go through this. Tom Haberstroh posted a tweet which really got people, and it was great, where he said, I am going to put the Thunder in an exclusive club of NBA champions whose titles deserve an asterisk. And you're like, exclusive club? Ooh, there's he said short list too.
Okay.
And he went through, you open the article, and it's literally every single NBA champion has an asterisk dating back to the 70s, because you can find some reason to give a team an asterisk in every playoff. Like, that's the whole point of it, is like, yeah, you can do this with every single team if you really want to look for it. Like, we're just doing this because we love Halliburton and he won every fan over with his postseason miracles. So I think the asterisk thing is stupid. And Tom Haberstroh really points that out, because this happens every postseason. If you're going to play 4 series and you're going to play 7 games, then you know, you're bound to run into something where it's like, oh, you had a little bit of an advantage there.
Yeah, I love that he did that, because I love a good parody or mock article.
Yeah.
So if he hooked people in with like a very clickbaity thing and then flipped it on and being like, this is dumb, this whole conversation is dumb, I respect the hell out of that. Very good by Tom Haberstroh.
Well done.
But yeah, to answer my question, I don't think the Warriors can do anything to compete with this team. I think they're going to be here for a while. They're young. Their average age is 25 years old, and they're only going to get better. They have draft picks tonight. Yeah. No, I don't think they can do anything, to be completely honest.
They don't even have a draft pick tonight. They have one tomorrow. No, they just have the 41st pick.
No. Well, no, Warriors. I'm saying Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no. The simple answer, no. I don't think they can do anything. At the same time, I think they'll be competitive. They'll always be competitive with Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler and Steve Kerr. But do I think they're actually going to be championship guys, or championship team, I should say, guys? No, I don't. I think the ship has sailed, unfortunately. But we will see what happens in free agency and see if the Warriors can make some trades or sign some players. So we'll keep you updated on all of that. Well, not tonight, but next podcast, maybe they swing a trade, or free agency doesn't start till technically next Monday. So, yeah, we'll see what they do there. I want to get into this story real quick on the NFLPA and NFL colluding together. So this is not your typical NFL story. It's not a sexy one. No contracts or no trades, but something behind the scenes. This is old-fashioned J1 journalism between Pablo Torre and Mike Florio here, where they got the inside scoop on a court ruling that happened back in January that wasn't revealed until this week. So in it, it says that basically the NFL and NFLPA colluded together to prevent teams from giving players fully guaranteed contracts. And this happened after Deshaun Watson got his $233 million deal fully guaranteed. So then after that, Roger Goodell went to NFLPA president J.C. Treader and told him, we want to tell your clients to be receptive to not getting fully guaranteed deals. And then they told the owners this, and the owners were like, yeah, we hear you. Chances are we weren't really going to go along with fully guaranteed contracts anyway, because Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, ruined it for the rest of us. So this article comes out, and the reaction to it is not a whole hell of a lot. There's some former players that saw this, like Chase Daniel, who worked as a NFLPA representative for his team, and he was like, "This is bullshit."
Well, hang on real quick. It wasn't the NFLPA who asked to collude. It was the NFLPA who filed the grievance over the collusion. It was the NFLPA who actually filed that back in 2023 or whatever it was, or 2022. The NFL, or Roger Goodell, asked this management council, which had some NFL owners, but this sneaky council that is basically a consulting group for NFL owners around the league. Yeah, they're the ones that asked other owners to do this, where they're saying, hey, guaranteed contracts? Yeah, you can't do that.
Okay, wait a minute. So what did the NFLPA actually do here?
Well, they're the ones that filed a grievance. Like, really, the whole story here is not so much the collusion, right? There's the collusion, okay, which obviously ended up in a lawsuit and people having to testify and all that sort of stuff. But it was the NFLPA who filed the grievance, but also it was the NFLPA who helped cover it up, because the NFLPA, it turns out, is a very sneaky business.
Okay, so they filed the grievance. This is where things get tricky with me. Okay, so, but they also went along with it, basically.
Yeah.
Well, then what the whistle blowing on themselves?
Essentially, like, they didn't know the stuff about them was going to come out. Like, this whole piece of journalism is more around how the NFLPA and J.C. Treader and Lloyd Howe are sneaky couple of guys. And that's what was uncovered in these documents. It's not so much like the NFL okay, so the NFL colluded. That's pretty bad, right? Like, that explains not Deshaun Watson. That explains the Lamar Jackson contract, what the holdup was there, why the Ravens weren't willing to do like a fully guaranteed deal, even though he was on his way to being a 2-time MVP. Kind of explains why the Falcons had a victory lap about how they weren't going to sign Lamar Jackson in the first place. Same thing happened with Kyler Murray. The same thing happened with Russell Wilson. So it kind of explains that. But I listened to the Hour podcast with Florio and Torre, and most of it was just a history of how J.C. Treader got the job as the NFLPA president in the first place, and the guy they hired as the executive director to take over for DeMaurice Smith, Lloyd Howe, and how he got the job. There was a little quid pro quo. There was a little quid pro quo going on with those two. A little, hey, if you help me, I'll help you, and we'll work together on this.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then these text messages were revealed with Treader saying some things about Russell Wilson, who is one of the union player reps, and kind of trashing him, saying stuff that they weren't willing to reveal. There were other text messages from, I think, like Dean Spanos of the Chargers, who texted the owner of the Cardinals saying, good work on the Kyler Murray contract for getting it non-guaranteed. That's going to help out with our quarterback contract. And Justin Herbert obviously did not get a fully guaranteed deal. So it's pretty layered, I'd say.
I hear you. The biggest thing for me is the shadiness of J.C. Treader.
Yeah.
How he went along with it and then acted like he wasn't a part of it. And if you're an NFL PA president or whatever his title is, then you need to be speaking for the players at all times and helping them out. And I can't imagine DeMaurice Smith would ever be a part of anything like this. He's a former player, J.C. Treader, but as you just put, Steven, to get the job, it was all about if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So he's simultaneously helping out the owners while, kind of dicking over his fellow NFL players or former NFL. Well, he's a former player, but regardless, yeah, I would say the biggest thing to come out of this is I don't know how the NFL players can trust JC Treader going forward.
Yeah,
that's my whole thing. Is that if you're going to be making deals with the owners, and that happens, like collective bargaining agreements, you got to make deals with the owners. But if you're making things that hurt your clients, or in this case, the people you're representing, the players, then yeah, how could they trust you?
Yeah.
But for everything else, and I'm gonna be real here about life and everything. You don't think business people collude all the time? I'm sorry, but I understand this is whistleblowing on a major level as far as NFL owners. But are we surprised by this? This shit happens all the time. Happens in the NFL, happens in Major League Baseball, happens in the NBA.
Do you have concrete details of that, though, Derek? Do you have a 61-page document with actual text messages exchanged where they are colluding? I'd be interested to see if there's something that happens with Vegas and the A's move to Vegas and maybe text messages with Rob Manfred and other teams. Yes, sure, this happens, but none of it is made public like this. Sure, it's sneaky, but it's really hard to prove stuff like this, and it's been proven. So it is pretty fascinating. No one's surprised. That's not the idea here.
Okay, but my thing is, and I know that I respect Pablo Torre. I do. I think that he does a fantastic job in uncovering stuff. But a lot of it also is stuff like recently with Bill Belichick and his girlfriend, and now this, where I'm like, okay. I mean, good work on you to get this stuff, and I respect the hell out of it, but is it going to change anything? Probably not. Mike Florio wants credit for this thing. He's taking a victory lap and being like, how come Schefter's not reporting on this? How come Rappaport's not reporting on this? Because you know that they're shills for the league, and they are working with the owners, and they are told they're tipped off about news in advance. And it's all pecking order about who gets it first and whatnot. You see what happened to Jordan Schultz? He is fired from Fox because he tweeted out about a game that's coming up on Fox. Now they want no business with him. He didn't play the game. Those guys play the game. I'm not saying it's not rigged. It totally is. Is it real journalism? Fuck no, it's not. But is it going to change anything? No. The NFL owners will always have power. And believe me, I'm not pro owner or anything like that, but that's just the way it is.
Well, it depends if the players want to take a stand, though. Because what if players learn that this is, we've been screwed over here? That's what, the players don't know about it. That's the thing. You say, are we surprised by this? No, but I guarantee you the players are.
I don't know if they're even surprised too, man, because I think Lamar Jackson probably figured this out during his negotiations because he represented himself, even though he had his family members helping him.
Yeah.
But I would also say, yes, the NFL probably colluded. Yes, it's factual. The NFL colluded in order to prevent players from getting fully guaranteed contracts because the Deshaun Watson contract was bullshit, and they were not happy about it. But I would also say that just because Deshaun Watson got his fully guaranteed contract doesn't mean that everybody else was going to. I think this was an anomaly. And I think that the NFL went out of their way, specifically Roger Goodell and JC Treader and all these people, to initiate the collusion. But if you ask the owners on their own accord, they'll probably be like, no, we weren't going to hand out fully guaranteed contracts. And you know what? I love NFL players, and I think they should get every penny they can. But I'll also say I don't believe in fully guaranteed contracts when it comes to the NFL. I don't. And maybe that's
why.
Because I think that you're more susceptible to injury, and no, it's just something they don't do. You do it in basketball, you do it in baseball. That's why those contracts are so lengthy. But also, NFL players get a good amount of fully guaranteed money on signing bonuses and things like that. Mm-hmm. And it's very risky in the game that they play, such a violent sport, to sign a 5-year deal and then boom, your ACL goes. I know it's rough and it's tough, but that is just business sometimes. So I know that I'm sounding cruel here, but that's the best way to do business is give them as much money as you possibly can. They deserve a shit ton of money for what they do. But fully guaranteed contracts, no, I would say no to that.
I think you're missing the point.
What am I missing?
Well, it's just that like JC Treader's in a place of power, man. And
I get
like,
it. Dude, I get it. He's shady. I get that
yeah,
part
but
of
the
it.
guy
I do.
that he hired too. Have you seen the history of the guy that was hired as the executive VP? We just said, oh, Lloyd Howell, he's taking over. Okay. That was one thing they uncovered was he was also involved in some real shady shit with some company called Booz Allen. And just to kind of give, I'm reading off their Wikipedia page. I know quite a source, but this is pretty much echoing what they said on the podcast. But the company that he worked for, okay, first of all, was an American company specializing in intelligence, AI, and digital transformation, mostly worked with the government and other countries. And in 2020, or excuse me, not in 2020, in 2022, Booz Allen faced criticism for its close ties with leaders of both major American political parties and their donations, as well as longtime alliances with militaries and surveillance entities of nations abroad. And then in 2023, Booz Allen agreed to a $377 million settlement over allegations that it had fraudulently billed the U.S. government, one of the largest procurement fraud settlements in history, without admitting civil liability. And there was a whistleblower, ended up firing the whistleblower, and it was all because of Lloyd Howell when he was the CFO. Look, the thing is, what could change is J.C. Treader could get fired because
very well could.
He was cut by the Browns, and then Howell created this brand new job for him so that he could stick around as the union president. He could get fired. Lloyd Howell could get fired, and they have a new CBA coming up in 2030. Like nothing's going to happen overnight, but this could kickstart something fairly interesting, I think. And if you don't think players should get fully guaranteed contracts, okay, that's like a whole separate thing. But one of them did. And that one just so happened to get accused from 22 massage therapists of sexual harassment. Like, it's crazy.
Steven, of course it is. I'm not condoning that Jimmy Haslam did this. I think it's stupid that he gave him a fully guaranteed contract. But just because Deshaun Watson got one, that means that Lamar Jackson should get one, and Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson should all get those fully guaranteed contracts. It was stupid business by the Browns because they went overboard to convince him to come to the Cleveland Browns. If that didn't happen, he was going to go to Atlanta. So he had to go above and beyond, and it's completely dumb. And now no one's going to take the fall there because it was Jimmy Haslam's doing. If they asked Andrew Berry, the GM of the Browns, he would have said, fuck no, we're not doing that. If you asked Kevin Stefanski, he probably would have said, fuck no, we're not doing that. Mm-hmm. And that's why those guys haven't been fired, because Jimmy Haslam knows I fucked up. I shouldn't have given this guy a fully guaranteed contract, but I had to do it in order to get him. Just because that happens doesn't mean you should give it to Lamar Jackson and especially Kyler Murray. I don't think he warranted – his play did not warrant a fully guaranteed contract at that time. Neither did Russell Wilson. Lamar Jackson, maybe. And the fact that I will say also, yes, with this new information and the way that it was kind of reported upon, like I remember the Atlanta Falcons actually like tweeting out, we have no interest in trading for Lamar Jackson. That's shady. All that shit is shady. I completely acknowledge that. But doesn't mean that the Ravens should feel compelled just because Deshaun Watson got a fully guaranteed contract that they have to do the same thing.
Well, this could also make a change in the salary cap, though. They might not have a hard salary cap, man. Like, that's also been a big talking point. And this little lawsuit here, the fact that it was made public, could go into those negotiations. Like, yeah. And you never know. Like this type of thing could end up in a holdout, all just because a lockout, rather, all because they had to give it to Deshaun Watson because one owner messed up.
You're giving me flashbacks of the 2011 offseason. Mm-hmm. Like that was a long, long offseason where nothing happened. And then like a month before training camp, boom, Nnamdi Asomugha signs with the Eagles. Like then they finally got everything done. But God, thank God that lockout was during the offseason, because if it like normally holdouts or lockouts happen during the playing season, that happened in 1982 and 1987. God, yeah. Ugh.
Well, stuff like this can get swept under the rug real easily. And this first surfaced 2 years ago. Like the Athletic published an article about it. It's just the details weren't revealed until now. So this could have a role in those negotiations whenever they start. I think this contract ends in like 2030 or something. So
No, I mean you're definitely right, Stephen. You're definitely right about that. That could impact things when the next CBA expires, or this latest CBA expires and the new one is agreed upon. You're definitely right about that. But as for the here and now, I don't think anything changes. I think that I mean, I give a lot of respect to Pablo Torre for uncovering this stuff and Mike Florio, but like, I also don't care for the way he went about it too, being like, in his PFT article, he's basically calling out every big NFL insider for not going into this. And it's their prerogative if they want to, like synergy, really. Like they all work for the league, they all work for the owners. They don't bite the hand that feeds you sometimes. I get it. It's hypocritical, but that's the way the world works sometimes.
Sure, but people don't have to settle for that's just the way the world works.
I know they don't have to settle for that, but
why do we have to settle for that? No,
well, what do you want to do then?
Whatever they're doing. Like that's what they're doing right now. They're trying to uncover all this sort of stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
What's the point of just staying put and just saying, that's how the world works, whatever. Like you and me could say that, but people who are in a place where they can uncover stuff. Yeah.
I get it. I guess my whole thing is, I'm going to get real for a second, is I never really question how the sausage is made. I just enjoy it. When it comes to football and people want to uncover shady shit in the league, I give you a ton of respect for wanting to do that stuff. That's true journalism. So I do respect that stuff. But for me personally, I just want to watch the games. And sometimes I like to be a little naive to things behind the scenes and whatnot. And I believe me, like you can't be naive. I know there's a lot of shady shit that goes down in all businesses, but mainly the NFL. Believe me, I worked at the NFL Network. The whole lawsuit that Brian Flores filed against the league for saying that the process of his interviews were racist. Yeah, he had a legitimate gripe, I guess, to warrant that lawsuit. But you best believe NFL Network was going to talk about it. I remember being there at the time, and we were all sitting in a room being like, are they going to talk about this today? No, they weren't going to touch it at all. And I remember Mike Silver, much respect to him, as he was maybe let go a month before that, and then he went scorched earth on Twitter, and I loved it. But nothing was going to change. Because at the end of the day, I don't know what's happened with that lawsuit, and it's sad. I hope Brian Flores gets another head coaching job, but now he's been kind of relegated to being an assistant coach or defensive coordinator. Nothing's really going to change. And believe me, I don't want the world to work that way, but it is currently. So maybe things will change, hopefully.
Maybe.
Now, as far as the A's and their groundbreaking ceremony, what a fucking joke that was. I'm sorry, but like you and I have been talking about this for a long time, and we all said we'll believe it when a shovel gets in the dirt. And this was supposed to be the groundbreaking ceremony, right, Steven?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it wasn't even a fucking shovel in the actual dirt. It was a elevated baseball diamond with fake dirt and grass and fake cranes. Like it wasn't actual construction stuff in the background they were using to build the stadium. It was all for show. It was rented that day. This is a joke. And I know like former players showed up, Dallas Braden and Dave Stewart, and they want to show face because they love really the Oakland A's. They love what it represents, and they love being associated with that team, but they're being there because they want to be supportive of the organization, and Dallas Braden works for the team still. So he's in a bind. And we played the clip a couple of weeks ago, Stephen, where he was on the podcast with Jerry Carabas and basically was like, I'm not going to say anything, but I know for a fact that all these players are not very happy about playing in Sacramento. And then I just sent it to you. You mind playing the clip of Dave Stewart with Towney?
Oh, hang on.
Dave Stewart, he's going to be there, but he kept it real also. Like I love this, where Dave is Oakland to the core. He's from Oakland, and he wants to stay. He wanted the team to stay in Oakland.
No, he didn't.
What's up?
He kind of wanted him to, but he also tried spearheading the move to Nashville and was fairly supportive of getting them to Vegas too. Like he's Oakland through and through, sure, but he was good with the A's moving. He wasn't happy with how the city handled things.
Yeah, okay. Okay, you're right about that.
Concede that. Like, let's be real.
Okay, no, you're right about that. And also, let's be real too. Shout out to the late great Ricky Henderson, but he didn't really care that they were moving to Vegas either. But
Right.
I did appreciate this. This is Dave
Yeah.
Stewart keeping it real.
Right.
What do you think it's going to be like when you walk into this beautiful stadium
Oh, what happened? Oh,
and
Oh.
whoa, hang on. Come on.
you see your retired number up there?
Oh, come on, dude. No.
What do you think it's going to be like when you walk into this beautiful stadium and you see your retired number up there?
God damn it. I
This
swear
better,
I'm not.
this better be one hell of an answer.
I don't mean this in a bad way. I'd much rather see it in Oakland.
Yeah.
But, to have my number retired in any place, if this organization goes, it goes from Oakland to Las Vegas. We remember that they started in Kansas. Well, they started in Philadelphia and went
Yeah.
from Philadelphia to Kansas City. I was a youngster when they came to Oakland. And so, to have my number retired is an honor.
Yeah.
So basically, a long way to get there. But Dave is keeping it real, just saying like I'd rather it stay in Oakland. But yes, he did help out to Nashville and other places. So I hear you on that one, Stephen. You are correct in that. But
yeah, it's hard when you're working for the team, though.
yeah, and also to be fair, Dave Stewart worked for the team and did a pregame show and postgame show with Brody Brazil, and the A's told him to get lost. They fired Brody, they fired Dave, they fired Shooty Babbitt, they fired Bip Roberts, and it's not lost on me that all four of those guys are from Oakland. So you can make that out of what you will.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought the whole ceremony was bullshit, and I'm still highly skeptical of them actually getting this thing done in Las Vegas.
It's the financials for me. I know that's boring, but having kind of paid attention to a little bit of this stuff, it's like you got the $380 million that he's making the Nevada taxpayers pay up for the bill, even though he's a billionaire. Even though that could have gone to other resources like education and different things around Nevada, which a lot of people in education were pissed about. Hence the schools over stadiums group that got established. So there's $380 million in public funding. The remainder of the $1.75 billion cost for the stadium was meant to be paid by John Fisher himself, but then they said they would enlist some investors. He promised $1 billion, which doesn't cover the entire cost. So the remaining would come from investors. And they say that the earthquake sale has nothing to do like Ernie already ahead of us here. Ask JYOM. You guys think Fisher sold the earthquakes due to the fact he needs more money for Vegas and not enough investors? They denied that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they are. And the thing is, the other investors, they have not announced any yet. And Susan Slusser kind of opined in her article that maybe this groundbreaking ceremony was kind of a show for potential investors. And that's in part why they
Yes, it was.
They were trying to legitimize this thing, try to prove to people that it was right. But the thing that made me sick, not sick. I mean, it's just a stadium thing. But
yeah,
it was it was the happiest I've ever seen Rob Manfred. I've never seen Rob Manfred happier because this stadium is going to be his lasting legacy. By the time his contract expires in 2029, he's going to be like, yeah, I expanded Major League Baseball to Las Vegas, the capital of America. It's like, Rob, like when we look back on it, really, it's going to be those two guys. And I'm going to be so interested to see like how he's viewed way down the line when this ultimately doesn't work out. Like, the stadium could get built, sure, but whatever they promised within this 30-year deal that they signed with Vegas to keep the stadium there, they're not going to fulfill whatever promises they kept. Like, they're all talking about the Raiders and how it worked for Raiders. That's football. And the Raiders stadium doesn't have Raider fans. They don't have a fan base right now.
Exactly.
Are you really proud of what the Raiders have established there? Like that goes to show that they really aren't paying attention because that stadium is full of red, orange, black and yellow, not black and silver, whatever. So I don't think that's a stadium you can look at and say, well, look at that. That was a success. Look at what they said about us then and look at us now. It's like, yeah, but there's no authenticity to it. You have
Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley dressed up in Raiders gear. You don't have any pictures of old players, though I could be wrong about that. I haven't been through that stadium in a while.
Oh no, I can. It's all Al Davis, but it really is just Las Vegas personalities dressed in Raider stuff.
Right. And so then there's going to be the cost. I say 1.75 billion. I think the Raiders stadium was like 1.8 billion and it went up to 2 billion. So the cost of construction is going to increase anyway, but then there's also the tariffs on steel imports. Hey, we're going to get American made steel, all American. No. That was a terrible Trump impression, by the way, but good luck. That's all I'll say is good luck, because a lot of steel is imported, I think, from like China or Japan.
China.
Yeah. So good luck. That's that. I'm kind of salty about it, but also Andy Dolich, former executive, was on KCBS this week, and
Love Andy.
yeah, he just said that don't get your hopes up about the A's returning to Oakland. They may not get the deal in Vegas done, but whatever dreams they had of maybe returning to the Coliseum, maybe it will work out. Yeah, that ship sailed. Like it's over and done with. They got other plans that they want to do there, and the A's are not in those plans. So
I would agree with that, and I would be, like I said, I highly doubt this actually goes to Las Vegas. This actually, and then the stadium is actually built. And the way things that are with the way things are going right now with the A's at Sacramento, we'll see how long they stay there as well. I think it's just a total shit show. And I had no offense to the fans that are still loyal to the team. I love it. This is what you get.
Here, you want to see my favorite thing from? I'm trying to find it. Oh, come on, please pop up. Please pop up. The day before the groundbreaking ceremony. Come on. Oh, I can't find it. They deleted it. That's why. Oh, you deleted it. That's embarrassing.
The A's did?
No, the local news affiliate in Vegas.
Yeah.
They interviewed Brett Rooker, one of the few that they gave a long-term extension to.
Yep.
Guy who's going to usher in this new Vegas era. A local TV news affiliate from Vegas interviewed him, and his name on the graphic, not Brent, but Tyler Rooker. Tyler Rooker, A's outfielder, A's all-star outfielder. Tyler Rooker. Tough look.
It's about as bad as Malika Andrews saying that Colin Cowherd got drafted tonight.
Tough.
Yeah,
real Freudian slip.
Tough. So yeah, that's our take on the A's fiasco right now.
Wait.
Steven, you wanted to get to some topics of your own, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
By
I got
all
a couple
means.
things.
Lay it on me.
I understand that we go to sports to avoid politics, but I just wanted to let you know of the craziness that's going on and to give you some of the headlines that's been happening around the world, and not just with politics, but also with one of the richest men on the planet. First off, say goodbye to big balls, Derek.
Excuse me?
Say goodbye to big balls. Big Balls, the name of the teen staffer who was the leader of Elon Musk's DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. A lot of these companies or these organizations were being messaged by a 19-year-old who's a tech bro, and his nickname was Big Balls. But obviously we saw the breakup with Elon and Trump, and Edward Korestein, the 19-year-old nicknamed Big Balls, who joined DOGE as one of the original staffers, has left his job at the administration entirely. Hardly knew you, Big Balls.
Is there a backstory of how he got that name?
I haven't gone that deep into it.
Okay, you haven't got deep in the balls yet, huh? Okay. What else you got?
Jeff Bezos is having his wedding in Venice.
Yeah.
But there's been a group called No Space for Bezos, and they had him change the location. They declared this a victory because, look at the bottom paragraph here, the couple relented after activists threatened to fill canals with inflatable crocodiles to block their celebrity guests from entering.
Wait a minute. Hold on. So they were so opposed to them coming to this spot for a vacation that they wanted to flood it with crocodiles?
Not a vacation, a wedding. They like rented out the city basically for their wedding. It's ongoing. It's a 3-day it's a 3-day celebration. Yeah. Yep. And they threatened to fill the canals with inflatable crocodiles to block everyone from going in. And by the way, Derek, just to
sorry. Bezos has threatened this?
What?
Bezos has threatened with crocodiles?
Like the canals leading into their wedding venue was going to be filled with inflatable crocodiles.
Yeah, so Bezos wanted to have crocodiles. This is his doing.
No, activists wanted to put crocodiles there to stop the guests from getting in.
Why are activists up in arms about this?
Because they don't want him going to their city.
Why?
Because he's spending a lot of money and he's renting out places in pretty much the entire city so that he could have his wedding. Over 200 or so wedding guests, including Elon, Kim Kardashian, Leo DiCaprio, arriving in Venice. An estimated 95 private planes are reported to be landing at the city's airport. And having been there recently for my honeymoon, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Not a very big airport.
Well, he's he's a billionaire. What do you expect? Like he's going to do extravagant shit.
Yeah, but it's just all about the Venice people. Do you not have any empathy here for the Venice people, Derek? The people
I do.
of Venice.
I do. I mean, how long is this going to be? This is a whole week?
It's 3 days. Yep.
Yeah,
whole week.
that would be annoying. Although I'm annoyed when Salesforce comes in and rents some shit out and I can't get this work on time.
All right, you want one more?
Yeah, let's go for it.
So this is weird. So Trump's at like this meeting with NATO right now. And
sorry, that makes me think of Head of State. You see that movie?
Yes.
You know NATO? I don't know NATO. Talk about NATO Jacobs? I can't say I know the individual.
That's pretty much what this is. Because you saw the thing with Trump where he got really pissed at Israel and Iran for apparently breaking a ceasefire.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Well, he got praise from the NATO chief for that. And the NATO, this is just to give you an idea of how weird things are in politics now, everybody. The NATO chief called him daddy. And during his press conference today, just check out Marco Rubio in the background when he heard the question here.
Go ahead, back white. Yep.
Oh, by the way, do you remember Blades of Glory with Will Ferrell, Chaz Michaels, where he'd just be calling on interview people? He's like, white pants.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. That's what Trump was doing this entire press conference. It was actually kind of funny. Here we go.
White jacket. Yeah. Go ahead, give my mic. Hello.
Deborah Haynes from Sky News.
Good.
Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, who is your friend, he called you daddy earlier. Do you regard your NATO allies as kind of children?
No, he likes me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay? No? He did it very affectionate. Daddy, you're my daddy.
Do you regard your NATO allies, though, as kind of like children and they're...
So that's what's going on in the world.
Yeah, Trump's daddy to NATO. Speaking of that, the whole thing with his quote saying that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Right before that, he said they dropped a big load the size that no one's seen before. And then, funny enough, hours later, George Kittle's on with Busted with the Boys, and he's talking about how Vasper system busts off big loads for you.
Yeah, it's this new technology, right? This new workout thing.
Yeah, but I don't really know how that helps with semen. I know it's like a good workout thing. He asks Taylor Lewan how he obtained it. He's like, I can't talk about that. But it's a whole thing. It's like a pedal thing. Like It looks like there's a bunch of wires to it. So it's supposed to make your testosterone boost, and you sleep great. And as George Kittle elegantly said, you blow big loads after you do it.
Who's going to ask him the question at the 49ers press conferences?
I'm hoping it's you.
I might.
I just thought it was funny that Trump earlier that day says, yeah, it's a big load. And then George Kittle's like, yeah, the Vasper system helps people blow big loads.
My favorite tweet, I don't want to try to search it up or pull it up, but my favorite post from this week was when NFL memes posted like, in March, can't wait to watch my NFL team play. April, can't wait to watch my team play. May, June, July, all the same. Then including in August, finally I get to watch my team play. Then in September, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know.
Yep, pretty much.
Unreal, man.
George Kittle. Vasper system. I need to look into this thing.
Do you?
I'm just curious, like, hey, Steven, you're married. If you want to, get pregnant, that might help.
Dude, this is why I kind of went off those. It just got a little too. I don't need to know that. We don't. I'm sorry. Like, it's fun. Okay, funny. Why not? Loser. Like, I don't need to know that.
What are you, prude? You can't know about George Kittle busting big loads?
I don't need to know that. I don't need to know about a tight end blowing loads.
All right, fair enough. And, I'm surprised that wasn't brought up more at tight end you. It's a big thing now. Jesus Christ.
So cool, man. I love watching tight ends work out.
Yeah, I know. It's the
so
fact
cool,
that
man.
The fact that like Laurel Rutledge and like all of them are out there for this, and like Taylor Swift's performing, and I know like she's with Travis Kelce, but like this thing has turned into something ridiculous, to be completely honest.
Don't you love watching just other people have fun? It's great.
What you get jealous?
I love watching these NFL players go to summer camp.
That's basically training camp.
I mean, it is, but like training camp, there's actual work, and I mean, there's work involved in this. They're holding classes and all of that, but really, what you're seeing is a summer camp.
Yeah,
for grown men
for tight ends,
millions and millions of dollars, just blowing loads.
Yep, and Greg Olsen, who's not even playing anymore, is like spearheading the whole thing. Yeah, respect.
He did say that Brock Bowers might be the best tight end to come into the league. Feel weird saying that C word now at that point. He is the to enter.
Arrive.
He's going to be a load.
Yeah, there you go.
Brock Bowers going to be. I can't even get through this.
You know what I'm a little concerned about though?
Otis Bird, aka G-Reg.
There you go. There you go, Otis. What's your name, G-Reg? What you do, get head? Drop my drawers and they see my third leg.
Blow them loads everywhere.
You know what I'm a little concerned about, though? I've seen pictures. Christian Wilkins still in a walking boot from a Liz Frank injury that happened in October of last year.
Not good.
Not good at all.
No.
We'll see if he's ready for training camp. Last call, everybody. We're ending this thing. If you want any questions, Rock a New Era, now's the time. I'm telling you. We look through here. We got any questions that we didn't answer? Let's see here. SJ, yeah, we talked about the A's. Oh, we got a new one. Let's see what's the bottom here. No, they're referencing hot nuts and everything. All right. Don't see any questions besides goofy ones from Tacky.
I got one more thing, Derek, if you want.
Yeah, by all means, go for it.
Could interest you in hip hop. A new album. Listen to this. Is a little pop culture catch up.
Oh yeah. You want to get to this?
There's a new album. Slick Rick, out of retirement, and he came out with his first album in like 27 years or something. It's 27 minutes. It's called Victory. There's 15 tracks on it, so a lot of them are fairly short. A couple of them are like dance tracks produced by Idris Elba. If anyone didn't know, he's like he's been a producer. He's been a DJ, grew up being a DJ, and now he's back.
King Driss is his rapper name or DJ name, and he has a great song I heard back in the day when I was watching The Wire called "What Up."
And this is part of a series of albums from Mass Appeal, the production company, and Nas. And you're having 7 new albums from 7 different hip hop icons. The Heavyweight series will include projects from Nas and DJ Premier, Ghostface, Mobb Deep, Raekwon, Big L, De La Soul, and an epic return by a surprise guest of honor. That epic return was from Slick Rick.
That's pretty awesome. I have to ask though, how are they getting releases from Big L when he's been deceased for quite some time?
I have no clue. That's a good probably posthumous, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I would assume so. And DJ Premier, in my opinion, Dr. Dre, a lot of great producers in hip hop history. DJ Premier is right up there. So yeah, you caught my interest. And I don't know if Greg Pop would know any of that stuff, but hey, he's going to the Wu-Tang Clan concert over me.
There you go. Also, posthumous release from Big L.
There you go.
Kind of the same thing with Mobb Deep, and it's going to be there.
Prodigy passed away years ago. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So got a lot of new ones. I highly recommend listening to the Slick Rick one, though. I mean, like he's, it's not like his storytelling has like a message. Some of it you're kind of just like, what's the end game there? Like, what's the point of what you're saying?
Well, also, basically,
that's the problem with these streaming songs, man, is a lot of them are like 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. It doesn't give you enough time to tell a full story or paint a whole picture. There's a couple reminiscent of like the boom bap era.
Yeah.
But there's also some where you're like, so that's it? That's a shame.
Yeah. But I think Slick Rick was really good at storytelling, even though like it may not have gone anywhere. But like I did like his delivery, where basically every song was like, "Once upon a time, not long ago."
Yeah,
kind of sound like Snagglepuss, honestly.
He does have that flow still. So,
well, you shouldn't change it.
Highly recommend anyone checking that out.
All right, we got 2 questions for Rocket New Era. We'll answer these quickly. Where does Tim Brown rank among all-time Raiders for you guys? He brings this up because the other day Tim Brown went on with the morning show. It was Marcus Boucher's birthday, funny enough. And Tim Brown came on, and as a surprise, he's a big Raider fan. And I said, love Tim Brown, a little overrated. I think physically he wasn't the best wide receiver of all time, but you would say hands down he's the best Raider receiver of all time. Maybe next to Fred Biletnikoff. Where does he rank? He never really embodied like being a Raider, but like I loved watching him play as a kid. I think there was better wide receivers through the course of history. So if I'm doing like a top 10 list, probably low, probably like 8 or 7.
A lot of the best Raiders though didn't play when I was alive. He's definitely the best Raider I've seen living. Although I'd probably put him because he played for such a long time. I'd probably put him above Charles Woodson.
Ooh.
Like if you had to give me like a top 5 that I've actually seen play, God, I mean, and I'm also basing this list off just my favorites. Number 1 is John Kondo. Number 2, Shane Leckler.
Damn, we're going special teams. Okay.
Number 3 is probably Tim Brown. Number 4 would be Charles Woodson. Then number 5. Sorry, but it would probably be Khalil Mack. Shoot.
Okay. No, that's more than fair. If it's just strictly players that I saw, I have to go Charles Woodson 1. Probably Khalil Mack. He was that good.
Yeah, man.
Rich Gannon, Tim Brown. Leckler was really good at what he did. And then Seabass is in that conversation too. So yeah, I mocked you for the special teams, but yeah, no, I mean, when they were shitty, they had the best special teams in all of football.
Hey, man, Derek Burgess was sick for a little bit.
Burgess was my guy. I love Derek Burgess.
Yeah, number 56. He was cool.
I had his Honolulu Pro Bowl jersey. Oh, I love Derek Burgess.
Yeah.
All right, and then the last one here from Rocket New Era.
Zach Miller's right up there.
Who?
Zach Miller.
Oh, Zach Miller. Oh, yeah. God. Speaking of that lockout, Zach Miller left right away to go to the Seahawks. That because unfortunately Al was on his deathbed, and yeah, we talked about it last year. That one bothers me. Okay, last question. You guys see the new Giants plan on building Bond statue next? Yeah, I heard it was referenced today. The morning show on 95.7 asked Larry Bear about it. There's no details really. It's just that it's in the works. Yeah, Barry Bonds deserves a statue. I really don't know what else to add to that.
Yeah, I got to be honest. When it comes to statue talk, I've kind of been out on statue talk. Who deserves a statue? Build the statue. I'm not really that gatekeepy about statues. If you want to build a statue, go ahead. Like I think Bonds absolutely is deserving of one. But statues are just statues. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm not like big on the statue thing, you know?
Yeah. My only
Discussions
question
on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not a big statue guy either. So to be frank with you, everybody, I don't really care. But he's deserving of a statue. My question is, in the statue, are they going to include a syringe in his butt?
Maybe.
I think it'd be fitting. Yeah.
If you want to tell like the whole
Yeah,
story,
Giants fans, huh?
if you want to tell the whole story of Barry Bonds,
I highly doubt they'll be in there.
do you think they'd have one? Like, he's my favorite player of all time, so I'd love him. I love that. But do you think they'd do it in like a recliner?
Why recliner?
His locker room recliner, the one that he
Oh,
requested?
yeah.
Probably won't be, right?
Nah,
It's got to be
probably
on the follow. If you're gonna do it, it's got to be on the follow through. I don't know if they're gonna like the follow through of the at bat when he's, or maybe when he won the record and he throws both hands in the air. Just as long as you got that sick ass earring on the statue, and that's an addition to it. Yeah, I'm good. Syringe might be far fetched, Derek. I don't know if they're gonna do that.
Yeah, probably not. And they, I do wonder if he's going to have. I can't think of his name. Who's this guy that took the fall for him? Greg Anthony? Not Greg Anthony.
Not Greg Anthony. What?
Who was the guy that went to jail for him?
I don't know. I don't remember the name.
I just, if the statue's going to include him like pushing him out of the way, be like, take the fall for me. This is me ripping on Bonds because Greg Anderson. Thank you, Rocket New Era. Greg Anderson. Yeah, took the fall for Bonds. Bonds a great player, no doubt in my mind. Also, not a great guy. Anyway, that's it for tonight. I think
it's not a secret. He wasn't a great guy at all back in his day. Like from Arizona State through Pittsburgh, through the Giants. Yeah, he was not a good person. He's seemed to rehab that image, which is great. But during his playing days, I think even he'd admit that. Just again, if I've kind of promoted this guy's podcast on our own podcast, but if anyone wants to, just go search up Press Box Chronicles with Jeff Pearlman, and he tells a lot of stories that kind of go untold, and he does these in these really like succinct podcasts that take like 20 minutes, and he did a full one on Barry Bonds, and there's some pretty what's the word? Jarring stories that he has in there of Bonds in his playing days, mainly with how he treated the media.
Yeah, no, I've heard some of that, and I do like Jeff a lot, and I think we follow each other on Twitter. So if you want to, Steven, I could reach out. I would love to talk to Jeff Pearlman.
Oh, of course. I heard he accepts every interview, though. You'd probably have to go to Blue Sky. He's on Blue Sky now.
Oh, is he now? Okay, and then I have his number too, so maybe I'll hit him up.
Yeah, he'd be great. And if anyone hasn't heard his story about John Rocker and how that all went down, the crazy Braves starting pitcher who's known as one of the biggest jerks in baseball history, it's because of a piece that Pearlman wrote for Sports Illustrated after doing a profile on him.
Wow. So I didn't know he wrote that article where he basically, I'm not going to repeat anything he said, but he said some horrible things about black people and gay people.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. We'll end on
that. Close it out.
Thanks to everybody in the chat tonight. To Rocket New Era, to Otis Bird, to Ernie One, to Tacky, who I saw on here, to Pat H, to I believe AJ Cruz started this whole thing off, to Marcus Zamora, new guy in the chat. Thanks for stopping by. To my buddy Andy for asking some silly, goofy questions about Flubber, which I always appreciate. And I believe that is it. All right, everybody. We will see you on Sunday. Steven, say what you always say.
What do I normally say? It's just our opinion, man.